Hello, fellow classmates. My name is Tiffany, and for my presentation, I will be discussing about endangered species, particularly the hawksbill sea turtles and hatchlings. Hawksbills are one of the smallest sea turtle species among the 7 different kinds of sea turtles. Known for their beak-like jaws, this allows them to forage through small crevices such as coral reefs, and there they would predominantly feed on sponges. They play an important role when eating these sponges because it not only keeps the ecosystem healthy, but it also maintains the balance to the ecosystem as a whole. So they are much needed. Hawksbills, they are listed as critically endangered, and this means that their populations have been declining over the years, and therefore only few of them remain in the oceans today. In my research, their location takes place in Candies, Philippines, and it is known to be the nesting grounds for these turtles for over hundreds of years. However, as report states, the nesting sites have been decreasing drastically. Between 2000 and 2005, there were 100 to 15 nesting sites, 3 in 2017, and only 5 in the span of 9 months of 2018. The question comes down to why is it that this occurs? And it is their major threats, such as climates and humans. Climate changes such as temperature and high tides are often what destructs these nesting places. A mother hawksbill will lay around 160 eggs, but only half of them will survive, and this is due to the high levels of waves crushing and soiling the other half of eggs that did not. And this is provided in the image to the right. Human activities and their interference are also the common threats, and these include overfishing, bycatching, pollution by industry such as plastic, loss of habitats through not only climates, and also recreational spots and resorts. And of course, the tortoiseshell trade. Turtles, they have these beautiful translucent patterns on their shells, which attracts humans. And so what happens is they are captured and their shells turned into souvenirs to be sold off in markets and to tourists. And these include jewelry, furniture inlays, combs, accessories, anything and you name it. And the trading is believed to be one of the most primary causes of why they are on a brink of extinction. Hawksbills commonly nest within beach vegetation on secluded low energy beaches. Their incubation period is around 2 months, and those times are often critical and very dangerous. And this is due to, of course, the level of tides and the human disturbances. There is a term called false crawl, which means that turtles would return back to shore when, due to being spooked by anything that comes in the way of their processing to release the eggs. And this includes any sounds, humans, pets, light, anything. When this happens, the turtles cannot lay their eggs successfully. When they swim back, the eggs will fall down into the ocean, causing embryonic death to those eggs, which is very unfortunate. As for temperature, researchers suggest that turtles rely on sand temperatures to determine the gender of the turtle eggs. This means that, for example, lower cooler areas would be determined as male, while upper warmer areas would be female. This is also very important because if there are any adjustments to the sand temperatures, there will be imbalance to the diversity of those genders. What is going on now? So in areas such as the Philippines, it has become a sanctuary for the turtles, where people are monitoring and patrolling the nests constantly, and they have been doing so since 1999. The image to the right is a worker and a volunteer who are checking up on the eggs before covering it and protecting it to prevent anyone from getting near into the eggs. I also wanted to include this, which occurs some other areas, and this is in Florida. In Florida, they have what it's called satellite tracking, and they are tagging these turtles. And from this, they track areas of where they swim, their migration patterns, see where areas provide important feeding locations, as well as to locate where they may come in contact by the fisheries. So how will this affect future generations? 30 to 40 years from now, it seems very far, but it will come, researchers predict a possible mass extinction. This can cause more problems, such as other species to follow extinction. When one goes extinct, another one will soon follow, and then the pattern will kind of shift into a different pattern, and it can create drastic problems. This will weaken the ecosystem both underwater, such as the coral reefs, as well as on land, such as tourism. And they will also lose a lot of valuable resources and research if nothing is to be done. So questions. What does the temperature of the sand determine, and why is it important for the eggs to be hatched without disturbance? A. It determines the state of their health, and that is about it. B. It determines when they will be hatched, usually 45 days of incubation. C. It determines gender. By successfully hatching, this would prevent the imbalance of diversity. So if you answered C, that is the correct answer. And as I mentioned, gender diversity is very important. If one of them if there's more females, for example, than males, they will not be able to reproduce successfully. And that's why the temperature is important, as well as just not to disrupt those eggs are also very important. The second question is, why are hawksbill turtles important to the ecosystem? They are the biggest sea turtles, eating jellyfishes and keeping their population in check, and thus must be preserved. B. They maintain a healthy balance to the ecosystem by feeding on sponges, especially for the coral reefs. Or C. They help maintain healthy seagrasses beds by grazing. And if you answered A, you are incorrect. If you answered C, definitely incorrect. For hawksbills. So the answer would be B. They maintain a healthy balance to the ecosystem. If you imagine species to go extinct, just any of them, in particular I will focus on hawksbills. If they were to go extinct, no one will eat all that sponge, and so the coral reefs will be exploded by other things, almost damaging it towards the end, or damaging the coral reefs. Before I close this presentation, I wanted to leave off with a quote from one of the authors of these Hawksbill's articles, and he says, "When ecosystems fail, our own health is at risk. When saving endangered species, we are ultimately saving ourselves." And that is it. Thank you very much for listening.